right, guys. You may or may not have been aware, and we covered this last week, the heavy rain top of the South Island, the state of emergency in Marlborough, Nelson and Tasman. And thankfully, look, people got through it and they're cleaning up now. I think the state of emergency remains in some areas. But really, disasters happen. Big earthquake, by the way, down south too last night that a lot of people felt. But it was interesting to note that 4 days ago, there was a big communications outage across Golden Bay, and it was traced to a severed fibre optic cable running under Lindsay's Bridge near the Takaka River. And the fibre provider Chorus confirmed around 800 fibre and 350 copper connections were affected by the outage, which began early Thursday, and it disrupted the emergency 111 network as well. And areas affected stretch from Upper Takaka to Collingwood, Bainham and Wainui. Now, the Prime Minister talked about it, and there was quite a lot of gnashing and wringing of hands. And I was interested, therefore, yesterday to see that the Telecommunications Forum came out and was discussing our reliance or our expectations around being able to reach for the cell phone during times of crisis and communicate. And maybe we're a little bit slack about that and overly optimistic about just how robust all these networks that private companies provide are. To discuss it more and talk about this concept, I'm joined now by the CEO of the New Zealand Telecommunications Forum, Paul Brislen. Paul, how are you?
Good morning. Good, Sean. Good. How are you doing?
Very well. Now, for those who don't know, can you tell us what the Telecommunications Forum is?
Yes, for sure. We're the industry body that coordinates all the activities when the industry has to get together. We do a lot of codes, a lot of regulation work for the sector. But in this case, what we do is we run the Telecommunications Emergency Forum, which is the coordinating body that looks after the telecommunications networks when there's a big event like a storm or an earthquake or a cyclone, that kind of thing.
All right, let's go back to the Golden Bay outage. It wasn't major, was it, or was it concerning?
No, it is concerning in that there were people without comms for a period of time. As you said, the fibre was cut sometime in the morning, Thursday morning. We identified where the damage was by about Thursday lunchtime. By 3 o'clock, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the repair crews were finishing up, and by 3:30, 4 o'clock, it was back online. But in that time, as you said, people were not able to make calls, and that includes 111 calls. Okay.
In a time of crisis, do all the players in telecommunications, all the providers work together? You throw away the competition when communities are in crisis and when a state of civil defence or emergency is on?
Yes, absolutely. That's the role we play. We have stand-ups as often as needed. We get all the network engineers together. We say, okay, look, take the cyclone, for example. This area is out of action. That area is out of action. We work closely with the engineers from the power industry, the electricity providers, to say, okay, well, if you're switching on that area tomorrow, we won't put generators in because that's that's a waste of time. We'll move over here. We work together with them, with fuel, and with NEMA, the National Emergency Management Agency, to coordinate all that activity. It's something's always breaking, so we're quite good at testing our processes and coming together to support each other when the need is there.
All right. Look, I guess there is, and I'm trying to think, I mean, I don't have a landline anymore. I don't really know anyone who does, to be honest. But I guess I do. If you're going to ask me if there was the big one, another big earthquake hit Wellington tomorrow, what would I do? Well, I'd reach for my cell phone. And I would kind of almost, if it were not for a little solar-powered charger and radio I've got, my cell phone, therefore the cell phone network, would be my lifeline in terms of communication, asking for help or reaching out to anyone.
Yeah.
Am I naive to kind of think that will necessarily always be there for me in times of crisis?
Yeah, I cannot guarantee that any phone network will stand up to the kind of things that you're talking about. If it's the big earthquake that hits Wellington, Alpine fault. We discuss this a lot. We are absolutely sure that will kick off sometime in the next 50 to 60 years. It's late already, and in an event of that scale, telecommunications, electricity, roading, water, they will all break. And if you are relying on any one of those, including telecommunications, I think you've got to have a better plan, because the towers will be damaged. The connection from the towers back to the network, what we call backhaul, those lines will all be cut. You're likely to lose electricity to all the major sites. They'll run on batteries for a while, but they're not going to get you through months and months of rebuild. So you need another plan, Sean. You need a better plan.
You do need a better plan, and it strikes me, you see, we live in a world where we're told that technology is wonderful, apps are wonderful, algorithms are wonderful, but when push comes to shove, and when the brown stuff hits the wheelie thing in huge intensity, you're still on your own, aren't you? You need to have food and blankets and some emergency medical supplies, and you need to live isolated. Yeah.
You need to plan for all of that. And you remember the back page of the Yellow Pages used to have
that's right, it did too.
Exactly. So we put together one of those for a digital era. Not only do you not have the Yellow Pages anymore, but when I tell the kids about it, they just laugh at me. But we've got a fact sheet. If anybody is looking for it, you go to the tcf.org.nz website. There's a fact sheet for all the bits and pieces that you might need to think about. Have spare batteries for your phone, or chargers. Have a plan for where you're going to meet the kids. If there's an earthquake and all the telco is knocked out, where are you going to meet the kids to get everybody together? That kind of thing. And again,
you can't necessarily say, "I'm going to text you." Yeah. No, that's what the difference. And I'm just crunching through it without the telecommunications, without the mobile phones, without the texts. It's like you go back to, and I'm not going to call it the dark ages, but you have to go back a generation or two.
You do, and that's it, right? It has been so reliable. And it is during modern times. You know, when there are no emergencies, you can absolutely use this system. The one good thing I can say is that coming on stream, we have a new technology. We have this low Earth orbit satellite stuff. Starlink is the
a lot of people have been texting me just in the last few minutes on that.
Yeah, that is going to add yet another layer of resilience. So we've got 4 technologies we look at. We use fiber, mobile. Fixed wireless is very popular in New Zealand. A lot of customers using fixed wireless connections. And then the 4th one is satellite. And that's because basically you're converting satellites into cell phone towers, but they're in the sky. So if anything does happen on the surface, they're largely unaffected. They also need fiber, by the way. They also need backhaul. So your signal goes up to the satellite, comes down to an earth station, and then gets carried by fiber cables around the place. So if the earth stations are damaged, that's not going to work. But it gives you yet another string to your bow.
Yeah, so because a lot of people are texting me through saying, what about Starlink? Surely we don't need anything else. We got the satellite bouncing the signals around. You're saying we still need earth stations. And really interesting, this conversation, so many texts coming through. Someone says there was a dead spot in the Lindis Pass, which was also a cell phone blackout, but there were lots of car crashes there. They put in a 5G tower, and it's vastly improved things.
Now we work with government on that. We've been doing the Rural Connectivity Black Spot Fund. So they've built nearly 600 towers up and down the country to provide coverage on state highways. And I think that's a tremendous program, because it's not economic for a company to put a tower in some of these places. There just aren't enough customers.
But someone else says 5G brain-fried nutters have done some huge damage to the tower, putting lives at risk. People are currently appealing for information. That's from Dave in Otago.